Okay. Okay, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Okay, well, I'm just gonna start. So, vote when your ship, so we're gonna go ahead and try her out. I don't have any particular plans on how to do her, but I'm just gonna kind of wing this one. Okay, let's see here. Not sure what to color. What do you do? Oh, hi. Firebone Keon, nice to see you here. This is my first attempt at a live stream, so tell me if you can hear me. If you can't, man, gotta get this glued. There we go. Oh, good. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm starting with here is this is a broken figure from one of SEL Matt's broken box. Her break is a very common one, just the gear half came off. So what I'm doing is just simply super gluing. With some customs, I will actually leave the broken part off because it makes it easier to paint the figure. In Gear Shift's case here, the gear is far enough removed from her body that it doesn't make a big difference, and it'll be easier to paint the gear with it attached to her hands. Anything not attached to the base is actually kind of a pain because it sits on the paper, and that'll actually pull paint off, and I just have to wait longer to do all the coats. Thank you for stopping in. This is very much a first trial. We're just going to see how it goes. Feel free to ask any questions. This is kind of just a casual paint and chat kind of thing. That is a good question. I have no idea at this point. I purposely picked these 4 figures so that I didn't really have any set plans for, to kind of go into it so you guys can kind of see the process that I like to do with painting these. Some of them I'll buy ahead of time with knowing what I'm going to do, like High Volt over here. I've got him over here. I'm going to do his more light color version of him when he is fully upgraded. But Gear Shift, with her coming in the mystery box, I didn't have any plans for her going into it. So I'm just going to kind of wing it and see what I like. That's kind of the fun with the mystery box selections. What do you think she should look like? Here, I'll turn my camera on. You can actually see me. I have a lot of questions. So, I'm probably going to stick with more metallic range for her. Metal colors always look so good. Maybe for her figure, like I was thinking purple would be a lot of fun with her. Oh, hi, Matt. Okay, so far I was leaning towards purple. Her colors already are white and yellow. So actually, and I've got a lot of whiter figures painted right now. I want some more color. Oh, you know what? With her metallic colors here, greens look really good in this one. Greens and coppers and bronzes. I'm gonna have to go that route. Do more like a jungle, like a old piece of tech that has been overgrown with jungle colors. That's a good combination right there. Means a lot that you're stopping by, Matt. Okay, I'm gonna pull out some of my greens and start playing with those and some. Actually, you know what? All right, I've got a really good bronze here. I'm actually gonna start, I think, with painting her gear a few shades of the bronze. Green's your favorite color. That is a good color. I typically lean towards blues and purples, but green is close. I always like the cool colors. Of the warm colors, I'd actually typically lean orange. But So here's to show you guys something cool. What I use for my painting palette is actually a tile. I'm pretty sure it's just from Home Depot. Sorry, the camera is it's mirrored for some reason, so you're getting a mirrored view of this. These tiles are so fun because you can put the paint on, the acrylic paint, and it washes off so easy. So I can just use them over and over again instead of buying bajillion pads of palette paper. So I have 2 of them I'll go between. All right, so just start with a little, you go in the corner. This is a nice metallic colors. A lot of metallic colors are actually a bit of a pain because they separate. This bronze here does a really good job. So I like this color a lot. Always, all right, so you guys can see kind of a handful of my favorite brushes. I actually have a whole box of them. I typically stick with just like 6 that I'll use. And this one here, not even very often. That's teeny tiny detail there. With a big surface like this, I'm all gonna just kind of cover the whole base. I'm actually gonna use my biggest brush here because after doing some test work on a trap here, it takes a good bit of time to get a solid coat on them, so I'm gonna have to go over and over. That's one of the realities of these customs and why they take so long, is that you just have to paint the same color over and over again. But I actually think this kind of looks cool, even though it's not fully solid. Thank you. It's kind of a test run. After the issue with the Sharpie on the trap, I actually wanted to play around with just doing opaque traps. And this was another one in the damage bin. It actually didn't have any Sharpie on it. It just had a little bit of gunk. But, it's the most common trap you'll find out there. I think it actually turned out pretty decent. So I'll play around with that some more. Matt, if you're interested in just painting some traps, fun metallic colors, if you can't hide the Sharpie, that's always an option. So you can see right here, right away with the first coat, it's very, very, you can see all the streaks. Always the first coat is going to be the worst because the paint has very little grip. Once I get the first coat on, the second coat will become a lot more opaque. And that's true no matter what part of the figure you're doing, but it's especially these very smooth trap titanium pieces here. Let's see here. My real goal here is just to get enough down to get a grip for the next layer. Some artists would actually have you sand something first, but this works fine as a primer. But if you're like trying to paint an Easter egg, trust me, sand it. So you can already see it's a good bit of color showing already. But helps even more once you get the backside. I've learned with this clear stuff. So kind of double the color. There we go. And this will be a big part. So knowing kind of what my biggest area's color is going to be will really help me judge the smaller colors that I'm going to add in. Because you got to also consider the overall aesthetic with some of these and not get too caught up on the tiny details. And this kind of just shows me where my color balance is going to go. Get the bronze here. Try to keep it in camera for you guys. That's going to be my biggest challenge, is keeping this in camera. It has a tendency to pull it up real close to my face. I can always just get closer to the camera myself, though. Here we go. I don't know if you can see quite the difference. I can see it from, yeah, it's too much reflection. But there's a big difference between having the 2 sides covered. Hi, Chaotic. Good to see you. I'm so glad you stopped by. You get to see how all your little Spyros came to be, essentially. That was an unintentional string of rhymes. You can see the difference? Sweet. Yeah, that's one of the tricky things about cameras, is even with a lot of my pictures, especially with the color pink, I've noticed, it messes with the colors, and you don't quite see all that I would normally like you to be able to see. Sometimes it looks better on camera than in person. Sometimes it hides some of the cool stuff, like all the glitter effects or metallic effects are really hard to communicate. This one would do pretty good because you got a big enough surface to see the shine across. That's really how you register metallics in your brain. Glitter is a whole lot trickier, and it often looks just kind of dirty on camera, when in fact it's got a glistening look. So there we can already start to see the visual of how this trap will look with the rest of her body. So I'm going to go ahead and set her up here. Sorry, you don't get a great view when she is fully set up. Just get my tiny little cup of water. This brush isn't the best. It holds paint a bit too well in its fibers, microfibers, which means it's hard to clean out. So I just kind of wiggle it all out of it. You'll get to see the fun process of watching my pot of water change colors over the course of this. I just use a tiny little shot glass for this. And then I've got my paper towel. This I'll pretty much keep off screen, but I always kind of pinch out whatever paint is left from there. Okay, now to the fun part. I have so many green choices because metallic greens, I gotta say, are some of the best and have such a fun variety. You'd think it would be the blues. I love my midnight blue, but the greens have a great variety. So this is actually what I used on the trap here. We've got the, no, that's not the right one. That's the dragon blood. Which one did I use on the trap today? Where did I put that? Should be up top somewhere. Oh, well. Here's a pearl, which is basically just is another sort of metallic here. Let's see. It's another green. Some of these greens are essentially the same. They just don't look it from the models, but I have a lot of good greens. This is more of a teal. It's a color shift. Color shifts are some of my favorite. So these ones are color shifts. They kind of, when you turn it, it changes color just a little bit. That's not what I want. Here we go, just another metallic. That is glossy, you don't want that. Oh, here's a good one. So this one probably is not good on its first coat, but for more of a highlight, to get a brighter, yellower green, it's a great one. It is a color shift. I use this one on a lot of my more jungle-themed ones. Like Dunebug, you're right. Yeah, they do have color shifts like Dunebug. And I actually have a Dunebug that I accidentally ordered a second one. So I do want to play with him with some of the color shifts. I just not decided what color shift to go with. Anyway, this one is good for highlights because you'll notice with a lot of plants, with their light, when you see lighting on plants, it goes to this very, very light, almost yellow green. So that's what this one's good for. So I'll set that aside. I'll almost certainly use it at some point. Here's a good one. This is the one I used on this trap here. So this trap, its color shift didn't work on its own, so I did a black undercoat first, and that worked really well. That is a good point. That is a good point. Doing a color shift for gear shift. I've got a couple. Oh, here's another good lighter metallic. It's not quite as light as this. Good in between. So I'll set that aside. Get this out of the way. I think I've got the majority of my metallic greens. So we'll start with that and run with it. I've got a good variety of other shades and golds and whatnot to accent it. But let me see what base I want to start with. Just kind of looking at them on the bottom here to see what it'll look. Bronze. A real deep forest green here is usually the best one to start with for a bronze. These two colors typically go very, very, very well together. The bluer one here, I don't know, with it, the way it shows on this could be really pretty. Okay, I might actually go this route because that gives very much the patina look to it, which means actually rather than starting with the metallics, I'm going to dump all these off to the side. I'm going to start with a black. The black, first of all, gives you that grip coat, and then it's a solid color to work off of. A trick with any acrylic paint is that they always show a little bit of what is underneath, no matter what you do. So picking either a white or a black or a gray to start off is always a smart idea. I'm actually going to go up high with the black. Colors I use most often are black and white. Alrighty, let's see here. get a good angle. This brush here, it's not a good brush. It's you can kind of see how frayed it is. This is because it's the same brand as this one, and they don't wash out the colors very well. So right here at the base, they kind of clog up over time, and that makes the rest of it fray. So this is a still useful one though for when I want to cover a large area at once. So that's what I do with this one. Oh, let's see here. Actually, part of the reason I love metallics or acrylic is that it dries so fast. So this bronze is mostly finished with its first coat already. Almost finished drying. I'm going to give it a little bit more time just in case. You can see that right, nicked her. And because the biggest mistake you could probably make is trying to put on a second coat too soon, because it'll actually pull up the first coat if it's still a little bit wet. This right here is fully dry, but a little bit thicker part, like here at the edge of the gear, is still going to be a little bit wet underneath, even if it feels a bit dry. So I'm just going to start here on her wrist, I think. Kind of get a large wash. I'm not going to be too terribly careful right now. I can always go back through and fix up all the dings and nicks I always make. The hardest part of any of these figures is keeping the base clean, and I fail every single time. Then keeping all the cat hair off. That's a challenge too. Another thing I have to be aware of is because I always like to anchor my hand on another part of the figure. I tend to sometimes anchor my hand on a wet part. That is another thing to keep in mind if you're someone who does that. I don't know. I've not met any other customizers. Painting 3D is very different from painting on a piece of paper. It's fun though. It's really fun. And I recommend anybody giving it a try because, you know, you can always paint it again if you don't like it. So there you can just kind of see the first base coat there. I'm going to go through and smooth it up. And I'll go over top with the green. I really like black a lot better than white as my base because it doesn't take very many coats. Like at most, this is going to take a second coat. I can still see a lot of shine under because she's a very smooth figure, but black is a favorite. It is so easy to work with compared to a lot of other colors, especially metallics. And here on her legs here are going to be the trickiest because they're right where the gear is closest. Pay attention to where the edge of the bristles are and it's fine. Okay, so this is the part where I'm going to be a bit slower with all this, and I'll probably talk less about what I'm doing. So feel free to ask questions. I can definitely talk while I paint, but I'm going to run out of things to think of while I focus. Unless you go ahead and ask me questions. So chat away. Do tell me if I'm pulling her out of frame because I might not notice that. Try to let you guys see the edges I'm going around there. Ooh, hang on. I do sell my customs. In fact, 90% of what I make, I either sell or give away. I've actually been lately giving away mostly to SkyTubers, so you can actually go check out. Let's see, Crash the Skylands, Mike and Noit, and William Edis have all put up videos on Skylanders that I sent them. But as I run out of SkyTubers to give these things to, I've been working with Matt actually on ways to make these available to more people. I don't have a lot of options with like Oh, awesome. I'm glad you watched William's video. So yeah, I live in Alaska, so my shipping ability is pretty limited to the US. I've sent to Crash in Canada, and oh boy, does that get expensive in a hurry. And so um, Matt has been awesome and wanting to do some collaborations with that. And to me, that is peak option for me because he knows all the ways to get them out to people. He's got his mystery boxes that we've been collaborating on. And we've got some other things in the works. I'm not going to say much more on that for now, but we have other things on the works to make these available. So far, I have put them in mystery boxes. Right. And that is, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Matt said that certain places in Europe are available. There's other trickier places. And I forget what it's called, but he's also given a way to ship it to an address within the US. And then that will ship it to you in the places he can't. So if you want to know more about that, talk to Matt. But he does have, Stackery. There you go. Stackery. So yeah, we've been doing the mystery boxes. I've sent him recently some new figures. I don't think they've arrived to him yet, but there is going to be some more mystery box options. And then in July, we've got some things we want to try out. So keep your eye out. There will definitely be opportunities to buy more custom figures. I'm going to try to think of how many I'm keeping. I'm keeping 2 treasure chests because they're a little bit of fault. One I would just really like. The other one's a little faulty, so I'm hanging on to it for now. I'm glad that you're hoping to get one. I'm really excited to get them out to people. So I've been so surprised with how many people really want these because I just kind of jumped into this for fun, but knowing that a lot of people are like, yeah, but painting them just kind of decreases the value of figure. And then here people are like, sweet, I want to buy one. And it's been a whole new experience, but I love it. I love doing this, and I love that people are there to enjoy it. My family and I are strong believers in doing art that is beneficial to people. Useful art, we call it. And even though this isn't as useful as something functional, the way my dad likes, like a table, this is something that people love. And so to me, it is absolutely worth doing. There we go, get her some black pants on. If there's a custom hot dog, I would do everything to get it and add it to my 40 hot dog collection. I do currently have a hot dog downstairs with 9 tails. He is spoken for, unfortunately, but I have another hot dog in my broken bin, again with a missing tail, so I'll figure something different from him. But there will be hot dogs in the mix. I'm actually thinking about doing like because of the way his body is textured, doing like a moon dog kind of idea. We'll see on that one. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do with him. I do love hot dog, though. He will definitely see lots of all the animal figures, actually. All the dragons, all the animals. I love doing animals, so they're a lot of fun. Okay. I think I'm actually going to pause there on the black. I still got her other leg and her foot and all of the top half. But I'm going to go ahead and pause the black and rinse out my brush. It's good for me to rinse out my brush periodically anyway, because bits and particles will dry. Hang on. I just see some more hot dogs because 40 isn't that much. Oh, you're crazy. The most of a figure I have right now is currently my 16 mini ice smalls. I'm pretty sure that's the one I have the most of a single character. And that's just because they're my pawns for the chess set I'm building up. So I actually have 2 of them right here on my table to remind me that I need to get on this. I don't know. My chess set, I'm good with going a bit slow. It's a very chill paint job to me because it's just more rhythmic. So I like to do it kind of spread out or when I'm chatting with people at home. Anyway, assuming you use just one color to paint figures, roughly how many figures could you paint with one bottle of paint? Honestly, well, it depends on the size, but I'm using literally drops of paint at a time when it comes to these figures. And even this black, half of this is actually going to be wasted by the time I'm done with her. So frankly, one bottle could easily last over 100 figures. Chest Skylines, you want me to go grab them and show you the chest figures I've got so far? I've got all 4 Stormblades, 3 of the Knights, and 2 Rooks, so not quite halfway there, but getting there. Or actually, not even a fourth of the way there. But go ahead and get her next coat. So yeah, the one bottle of paint, these paints are going to last me a lifetime. Some of these bottles I have, I actually got way back when I was like 10, frankly. Recently I've gotten a lot of new colors, and if they stay in their bottle with a bottle half empty will start to dry within itself and get clumpy, so it's not always the best, but it lasts a long time, and at the amount I use, that's actually getting a metallic coat that only needs like 2 or 3 coats. That is awesome. I love the bronze and coppers for this reason. Little secret, silvers and golds suck to work with. They're pretty, but they suck to work with. I'm actually partial to coppers and bronzes anyway. So here with my bronze, pull it up into frame. You can see a lot of that is actually just dried. I've used most of it, so there's not too much dried on the tile. But I'll go on to the next one. Here. Let's grab that up. This is actually one of my more empty bottles here. Bronze is underrated. Bronzes and coppers both I love, and they look so good with blues and greens to me, and those are really fun colors to always work with. I typically like gold best with purple, and silver's a good medium for all of them, but bronzes and coppers are really where it's at if you want really cool looking stuff. Stick around, and at the end I might actually show you guys a bronzed bear skull, and that is no joke. That might be something cool for you guys to see. And that's literal bronze, not paint bronze, actual bronze coating. So there we go. That's a decently solid coat. I can still see at angles it's a bit translucent, so I'll definitely go over with a third coat. But you can see there, that's actually, for a metallic color on a traptanium surface, a really good oh yeah, there you can really see that. Here we go. You can really see that right there, bit of the translucency. So go over to the flip side, and that will help clean that up. I'll have to go back and really get down under by her hand a bit. It's definitely different doing this under camera. But yeah, I'll get the hang of it. A little clumsier with some of this. There we go. Oh yeah, I was trying to say earlier which figures I'm keeping. Of all the customs you've seen on my channel, the ones that I'm keeping so far are the Tomb Buggy. That was a pain to do, but I love the results. I'm keeping that. That was also my first true custom, so that means a bit more there. I'm keeping my Dark Ink Splat, which is my first character custom. My 2 Griffin Sonic Booms, I'm a big sucker for, I love Griffins. I love dragons, but Griffins, I don't know. There's something about those that I've just always really enjoyed. So I'm keeping those 2. I was originally not going to keep them, but the more I looked at them, the more I wanted to keep them, so I'm keeping those 2. I've got 2 chests. Nightfall and Astroblast custom I did. And for now, I'm keeping the Freeze Blade custom and the Horror Cinder one that I did. Of all my customs so far, that little group is all that I'm keeping. And I might change my mind on the Freeze Blade and the Cinder. The biggest thing with Cinder is that she'd be really delicate to ship. And then with Freeze Blade, I use glass paint on him. I can pull one of those out for you guys to see what those are. It's not the best color here, but the little glass paints here are tricky to. Oh, he liked the Popthorn one. I'm glad he liked him. Yeah, he was a fun one to do. I was throwing around some ideas for him, and at first nothing really landed that he liked. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Sea urchins. I actually really love sea urchins and doing art. I've made, way back when I did a dragon drawing, like a sea urchin dragon. I loved how that turned out, and I actually made a clay figure of it later on. Sadly, that's broken. I can't show you guys that now, but I do love the sea urchin look with all the quills. Sea urchin porcupine. It's really fun. Sadly, Popthorn's spikes are so short and fat that the firecracker, yeah, the fire, that was probably one of my most time-consuming and finely detailed figures I've ever done, but it was totally worth it. I'll tell you a little bit more on that here in a second once I explain the Popthorn thing. So I actually wanted to do some rings on his quills, but they were just too short to make it look good. You'll see some sea urchins have the banded stripes. And they were just, some of them were long enough to work. Most of them were just too short and squat. So I did the purple tips, which if you look it up, that is actually based on a real sea urchin. I'm not sure which one it's called, but it is based on a real life animal. Firecracken, the big thing with him is that to make his colors pop on the black with such fine little dots, most of the black light colors, if you just put them right on black, will actually kind of fade into the black really badly. I learned that with doing purple directly on black once. And so what I had to do is I had to do little pinpricks of white, which will show very starkly on the black if you just do little dots. And then go back over those precisely with the colors. And so it was definitely a unique custom in that regard. And it was such a fun challenge. It's not the kind of thing I could do too many of because it's just so time consuming, but it's absolutely the kind of thing I'd be willing to explore again with similar designs. Okay, so definitely some weak spots on this. I'm going to need to go around again, and I'm also going to have to get a smaller brush down by her hands. Actually, it's actually a surprisingly easy spot to reach. But yeah, otherwise you can get a pretty good idea of how her gear here is going to look. Good, clean out my brush. This one always takes a little bit more. The difference between a brush, this one's nice because it's a very soft brush, and it does keep a lot of paint going for a while, but the kind of hair they use makes a big difference. And cheaper brushes use hairs that, you know how if you feel your own hair, if you go backwards, you can feel that little grip. Those are little microfibers within your hair. And this has a lot of that, so it makes it really hard to just get all the paint out. And even here in the middle, I can see lots of sparkly stuff from when I used it yesterday. Oh well, it'll last for as long as I need it to. I have a lot of brushes, so I'm not short on any of those. All right, back to the black. This brush again. Oh yeah, all her parts that I previously painted are ready for their second coat. I'm going to go ahead, finish the first coat black on all of her. Might have to pick another brush soon to do a better job, not quite as messy. How long did that firecracker take me to make? You know, they typically range, I don't know with every single one of them, typically these customs range from 1.5 hours to 3 hours, depending on size and detail. He probably, because his main color of black was such an easy one to get down, he probably actually only took around 2 hours. He's not a huge figure. Here, I've got Hulu over here. The swappers aren't as big as the senseis. They're fairly detailed, but because the base color was fully black and then I just had to do all the fireworks might have taken So yeah, it probably took me 15 minutes tops to do the black, but then an hour, 45 minutes more to do all the fireworks. That's a rough estimate. I've kind of lost track on how long each of these customs takes, frankly. This one's going to go even slower. I'm glad you think so. Yeah, a lot of people have done a lot to keep this community going. I came into the Skylanders community years ago and kind of left for a while. But coming back and seeing how many people are going strong, pushing through, even though their channels are small by comparison, they could go jump on board with so many popular trends. They are sticking true with Skylanders. And I was like, you know what? I have these, I'm making them for fun. Might as well give them to people who are really going to appreciate them and to people who have done a lot for this community. So yeah, I've been happy to send them out to people. And then William was kind enough to actually commission. So he commissioned 3 of those. 3 of them, I've been offering every SkyTuber 3 free ones. And then if they want more or some that I don't already have, they can commission some. And he really wanted a Firecracken and Cobra Cadabra because that was his favorite. And so yeah. And then he also wanted to throw in a Popthorn. And it was fun to do those 3 for him. But yeah, I agree. The Firecracken of that set, it's my favorite on turnout. Alrighty, that's a decent base. I definitely am going to go through with a smaller brush and get a lot of the nicks and stuff you can't really see super well on here. But they'll show up, the white little tiny bits show up really big to your eyes, and leaving them unchecked can make it seem cheaper, even though it's still... Okay, I'm trying to grow the Skylanders community too. Oh, on TikTok, nice. I'm not on TikTok. I've never gotten into TikTok. Maybe it's something I should look into at some point. I'm actually not a huge social media person. I came onto Twitter because it's where all the Skylander people were. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Waterman. Or Botman? I don't know, I'm terrible at reading names. I appreciate that you enjoy them. Oh my goodness, her thumb is detached. I just realized that. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this. You can get it at an angle where you can. Here you go. So her thumb here is detached from her hand. It has mirrors. Got a few mirrors. There we go. So I might go back and glue that together. Waterman? Oh, perfect. Awesome. Oh, there is an R in there. Awesome. I'm not wearing my glasses, so it's harder to see from a distance on my computer. I don't need glasses for up close stuff like this. In most occasions I don't, but it is when I'm reading something small that's a decent distance away, I do need to wear them. They get in the way though when I'm painting, which is why I don't like wearing them then. Get under her hand here. Probably go over, oh no, it's close color match here. I do like this color better, so I might go through and paint all of this color. That'll save me the hassle of having to be careful with my black, but at the same time it'll be a lot of work later down the line. So I don't know, I'll keep trying to be a bit careful here. I'm gonna go over her knuckles though. Definitely gonna have to swap out for a better brush soon because this one's bulky and clumsy. It's good for hitting large surfaces at a time though, so I'll go ahead and just do the main portion of her boot here, but I'm gonna leave a lot of the edges untouched for a second. You have Discord. There are quite a few Discord servers. I will have to look into that. I do have Discord. I've used it occasionally, but yeah, I should probably definitely look for some Skylander servers. I do like Discord a lot, actually. I recently started Reddit too, actually, over literally a week. I started posting on Reddit, and there's actually a decent amount of people on there, and they've actually been enjoying. It's not a lot of crossover. I've not had anybody recognize me over there from Twitter, and so whole new group of people there. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop with my bigger brush here and go with this smaller brush. Go ahead and clean this out. Yeah, my water is gonna be very, very black today. I typically won't change out my water in the middle of a project. I mean, every 2 or 3 projects I'll wash out my water. I'm not very good at keeping up with that. Yes, I am on the Skylanders Reddit server. In fact, I've been posting a lot of the stuff I've already posted on Twitter, kind of bundling them up into groups. So all of the dragons I did for Chaotic Monodo, I put them all in a single post on Reddit. So that's definitely my most popular one that I've sent out this past week. But then all the rescues I bundled together, a lot of just general customs I've done, kind of catching them up. So that when I post new stuff, I can just post it new on Twitter and new on Reddit. Actually, I can show you guys right here the one I just finished yesterday and I put up. Let's switch out of the way. Here's the wrecking ball I did yesterday. This was a fun one from he shows up so much better on this camera than he did on my phone camera. He's not the best, like flat there, you don't really see it, but 3D, he looks pretty decent. I'm actually really happy with how he turned out. I'm a little worried for shipping. These petals here, they're decently thick for clay, but they pull way out from his body. And same with his tongue here. That's one of the risks with clay, is that the further they are from the body, the more likely they are to break. Anyway. Ring balls never look so pretty. I agree. This is a fun color combo. And it's such a bright color combination. I'm enjoying having something very vibrant in my collection or my custom roster. I've done a lot of darker colorations. So yeah, it's fun having something vibrant. That sounds awesome. Let me look at my phone real fast, see what we've got for my username. I'm Rainstorm Riddles everywhere. But let's go ahead and see. Discord over here. Thanks, Firebone. This one is a commission actually for, I think I'm saying it right, Mikey O'Nut. Or maybe it's just Mike O'Nut. Anyway, that's a commission for him. See my profile. Nope, where am I? I'm so terrible at navigating social media. I'm not professional by any means. Oh, here we go, I think. Yeah! Okay. Let's see here. I don't think I'm going to hassle with it right now, but later on I might send you my I think. Then I might just link it in my, I think I'll just link it in my comic section after the stream, because then I can do it from my phone and I can just copy paste a lot more smoothly than deal with all the typos that I am prone to. Okay, back to Gearship here. So I want to use this one. It's the same lower quality fibers of the ones I've been using, but because this is such a long brush, I can keep it right here at the tip and it works really well. That will work. That would definitely help. Thank you, Firebone. Okay, let's see here. Get under here. But she's got some silver bits in between this, but it's kind of wonky. I'll probably go over those and just make them bronze, a bit more uniformed. Here we go. Sorry, I'm pulling her off the camera. Awesome, and I should be able to have this on the setting. I'll be able to look back through the live chat, so I should be able to return to that and set that up, and I'll message you. My DMs on Twitter are also always open. I don't always see new people at first because it doesn't ding me when it's a new person that I've not accepted an invitation from yet. I try to check it fairly regularly just in case, though, because I've gotten lots of random people asking questions. So. Fair enough. I can't blame you on that, honestly. I got Twitter way back when, and it really was purely for communication purposes. But now it's actually become useful, and I've got a lot of... shoot, nick that. Gosh darn, I don't have to go back over that. Get it quick enough, I can usually rub it off. But yeah, a little bit of black left on the gear. Yeah, I'm glad how many Skylander people are on Twitter, so it's been good overall. Skylander community is so nice and friendly that it is a fun fandom to be on with Twitter. I know there's a lot of toxicity on Twitter, and so I'm glad the Skylanders fandom seems fairly removed from that, from what I have seen so far. I do watch them on YouTube, not super regularly. I typically, oh, hi, Richard Death. I'm glad you like the painting. So far, we're just doing a base black coat on her legs, but we're going to go over with some really cool greens here in a bit. The black is just so that the greens hold on really nicely, and that the darker colors will make the greens pop nicely over top. I do, and on this channel, I subscribe to them. On my private channel, I don't watch it from that channel very much. If they pop up and I just want to watch something, I will. But I'll definitely go onto this channel and watch a lot of their videos. I don't watch a lot of gameplay videos because they aren't always my thing. I enjoy watching some gameplay and I love watching it live, but it's also a lot of choices. Who are your favorites? So I've actually been friends with Crash the Skylands for years. I was one of his early subscribers way back in 2016. I really, really enjoyed a lot of his original top fives. He was really creative with so many of his videos. I don't watch him as much now, but yeah, he's an old-time friend. He's got a few videos of unboxings that I did. I actually sent him his very first PO boxing way back in 2016, which is kind of crazy to think about. And that was the first time I really entered the Skylanders community. Then I kind of fell out of it for a while. Otherwise, I don't really have any favorites. I enjoy watching Saving Skylands. He's got a lot of good stuff going on. I actually do have some custom projects I'm working with him on, but that's been a bit slower going just because he's not felt any need to rush. But I do have some commissions that I'm going to be doing for him. Crypt Crusher and Ignite the Fire both have done some great videos. I really enjoy a lot of their content. I've not been successful. I've been trying to get hold of Ignite. It's been tricky really getting something to him. I've got an igniter that I'm holding on to him for him. Yeah, but this kind of shows you who's sticking true with them through thick and thin, and that's okay. I get why a lot of YouTubers want to switch to something different. I mean, there's only so much you can do to milk a series at some point. To me, it's not too hard. I've got an infinite amount of figures to paint. But for a lot of people who really focus on gameplay, it starts to become repetitive to them. And I get wanting to switch to something different. I gotta say though, I also really enjoyed Matt's road trip video. That was a lot of fun to watch. And his new editor has done a really great job with all the fun little bits and pieces here and there. I loved his road trip starter pack. That was an awesome little gag. I love humor in the Skylanders community. I am definitely considered doing more minis. Oh, that's right. So I have the rest of the mini superchargers recorded. Not recorded. Well, the video, the drawing itself recorded. I have not voiced over them yet because my time for recording is very limited. I live in a house with a lot of other people, and I tend to get camera shy when there are other people around. Once I get going, it's a lot easier, but it's definitely nerve-wracking starting off, and so I've not gotten around to recording them. I will, though. Don't worry, Retro. I will get to them, and I'm also hoping to do some mini swappers at some point, and I actually might see if I can edit the image so I can actually swap the top halves of the minis. That might be a little extra. I'm a decent person at drawing, but I'm not super good at drawing, especially digitally. I'm not too new now to digital, but I've not been doing it super long and often enough to be really good at it. So that art, I'm always a bit more hesitant about. And, it's time consuming. I find it pretty hard to make long videos on Skylands. I like streaming and editing, so make mostly shorts. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, to me, so what I really like doing with Skylanders is I like essentially creating new content. That's actually why I've been working on the visual novel stuff, and that way, especially people who are trying to make Skylanders content will have an opportunity to do that. And for the next few months, I'm primarily going to focus on customization, but come actually probably around January next year, where I'm actually going to move. I'm going to way slow down on these customs. Taking a bunch of figures with me won't be the best option, but I will shift more on the visual novel stuff. I'm working on my art skills there to get that up. I'm practicing around with the Ren'Py with a little kind of guinea pig story. And I've got a lot of stories I would love to tell and be able to tell it with visual stuff. I did fan fiction way back in the day, and it's really outdated, and so teenagers writing level. But I definitely have stories I want to do with these guys, and I also want to make it in a way that you SkyTubers can react to, play through. It won't be a lot of. I know visual novels, kind of the fun thing about them is having choices. I'm using it more of a storytelling medium, so I don't know if I'll include choices, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. I definitely have stories I'm gonna tell. I'm really excited to tell. The first one I'm working on right now is just a very simple little legend. Little kid learns a lesson kind of deal, and it is a guinea pig story. Then I want to play around with a story between Stealth Elf and Roller Brawl, when putting a situation for them when they meet, come before Swap Force takes place. So that'll be my first real story that I play around with. I only have 3 real videos. And they're all just unboxing videos because I don't really know how to. Yeah, and that's okay. Anything out there is fun. I'll have to go check out your unboxing videos later. Streaming would be fun. I actually wouldn't mind trying a lock with my superchargers. Those are my favorite gang. So yeah, I've got some one-off stories I want to start with visual novels, then I'm going to focus on a series of supercharger stuff. I wouldn't mind trying to stream a game, but logistically, it's not something I can do very easily where I am. It would be fun, though. any other, yeah. Time is always a factor. It's always so limited, and that's unfortunate, but, it keeps you using it wisely. Hot dog lock and swap force. You came to the conclusion that hot dog wasn't great in swap force. Fair. That is hilarious, though, doing a lock with just hot dog. Did you record that one? I know Mike Annoy did something like that with Food Fight, with his hundreds and hundreds of food fights. You streamed it? Nice. I'm going to have to go check that out. That's fun. No, if I do a lock, I would want to do it on nightmare mode. And I'd probably fail, but that's, to me, is what's fun. If there's no real sense of threat to me, I like that tension, the actual challenge to it. So that's where I would want to do a lock, is on nightmare mode with the superchargers. The vehicle sections are probably what'll kill me the most, but if I ever get a chance to do that, I'll let you guys know. Yeah, school's always keep me busy. I'm fortunate in that I do online schooling with my college, so I'm able to double task a lot of the time with customs and school. So any lectures or even the books I can listen to with audio, and so I'm able to paint and school at the same time. And then the workload, it varies. I can pick and choose how many courses I take in a semester. But then working full time also throws a wrench in things with time wise. But I love my work and I love my school, so it's all good stuff. This is a hobby; it's not a profession. I'm starting to run low on my black here. I'm gonna have to get a fresh bit of that out soon. Dutch schools? Oh wow. Is this college or high school for you? High school? Yeah, that is different. High school is definitely different. I have a sister in high school who is able to do online, but for the most part, people stick with in person in high schools, and that's good. But I'm gonna tell you the truth. High school, it's probably the time you're gonna have more time than any other time in your life. Once you start working and college, things change for sure. I'm sure you've been told that a bazillion times, but yep, that's the reality of it. But again, I love the school stuff that I do. I'm in psychology, and that's just a lot of fun to me. Okay, I gotta clean up my brush here. It's starting to dry up. You can see, I'll keep it out of the roots here, but it'll start to, little molecules of it start to dry, and you want to clean that out before it gets too hard to clean out. But you can see here, she's really starting to get a good black coat. These first coats are done in the slower section of it, but once I get that black coat on, then we'll really start having fun with the greens. At some point, I'll also have to do the next coat on her gear. Her gear's looking good so far, so I don't want to fuss with that right away. Fair. Okay, get some fresh black. Start fussing around with some of the fine details and mixing crannies here around her arm. I have one on my table. Actually, no, I do have a chill over here too. So I have this little guy finished. I've got I can show you some of those off for now. Shake things up so you're just watching the black paint over and over again. So here's the Buddy Wrecking Ball that I've got finished for my good nut. I've got a chill up here because of the chill drawing I did. Little Skylander jokes I did yesterday. Pulled her up so I can have a figure to reference. It's really nice having these characters to reference from at different angles. So I forgot what I called her. She was really just a character. I was like, you know what? These colors look good together. Let's throw them on. So there's a custom chill. Most of my finished ones I keep downstairs. Oh, here we got a Pop Fizz. This one, I'll give you guys a little preview. You guys will eventually see in Matt's mystery boxes. Eventually. And this exact figure, in fact. So he's calling him Burple, Pop Fizz. He's a black light figure, so I've got rings of black light paint here on the bottle and on some of his bubbles. So that's a fun one. Thanks, Retro. I'll grab these. Grab some of these chess pieces. So I've got my knights, my rooks, and my bishops. Those are all I've done so far. And I'm on the fence on whether or not I want to sell these guys or not, because I actually really like the way this chess set is looking aesthetically. So I've got Stormblade here as my bishop. I just thought she was good, and with the way her body angles really suits that move set for the bishop. So yeah, color scheme for these: yellow and white, red and black, and silver. Her already silver parts were very helpful in that, but definitely went through and touched up a lot of the silver tips. It's hard to see on the white, but on the black, you can see that glistening. That's one of the dragonfly sheens like putting on them. Victor, I'll get back to you. Actually, I'm going to leave those to be a surprise for when he wants to show them, because he's got a very special custom. That'll be a really interesting one for me to do. And so you'll have to see that when it's done. Where can you buy these at? Let me get finished showing off the rest of my chess pieces, and then I will answer that question for you. Here we go. I've got Wrecking Ball as the rook. Figured he was good. I had some fun with doing some design patterns on his back. I really like the way the red and black one looks, more so than the white and gold, but they both look a lot of fun. Also had really fun. He's actually got a lot of, some of these figures have detail that hides with when they have flat colors. And the rims on his plating, I actually think look really cool. So it was fun to highlight those with the silver. Shows really well here on the black. Those were fun. Gives it a bit of a new look with the carapace there. I'm glad you love Wrecking Ball. And then I've got Blades. I've got to do my second White Knight for Blades. This is the first one I did, though. This was originally just going to be, all I was going to do was with the White Knight Blades here, because he's got the whole sword look. And then the Black Knight here, the fun alt ego. And then I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. And I decided to make an entire chess set. So Blades here as the knight. Very fitting, I think. And what's really nice is that they kind of do follow the height that the real chess would, and that's been fun to play around with. This Stormblade's actually a little bent downwards, but typically her blade's up higher, so it does follow that gradient you see from the top view. There you go, you can see it there pretty well. So you got that fun height difference to match an actual chess set. Oh, I'll show you who I've got lined up for my team, actually. Or the ice smalls, I thought were perfect for pawns. They've got that pawn look. I haven't quite decided how exactly I'm going to go about them, but I've got 16 of them to try, so we will find out. And then for my king, I decided Crypt King would probably be the best option for that. So Crypt King is going to be my king. I've got him over here for this purpose. And then Golden Queen as the queen. Thought that might be pretty fitting. So there you go. That'll be what the chess set is. Okay. Do I sell them myself? Where can we buy these at? Currently, I've only sold them myself once. I did a fun little adoption day. Retro, we've already got Wrecking Ball so the tower is the Rook, and that is Wrecking Ball here. I figured with it based on his moveset and his height, and also for it within the SSA, that would be the best one there. I had an adoption day for some of the figures I did. 2 of the 6 sold, which was awesome. But I'm probably not going to do that again too often because I'm actually saving a lot of the figures I'm doing for something I'm going to do with Matt. That'll come around in July, so stay tuned for that. There are also the mystery boxes that will happen much more regularly. I've got 2 more figure sets already done and sent to Matt for that. They haven't been delivered to him yet, but oh, don't worry, Tom, they're coming perfect. Yeah, so it will happen. Slow month for June. July, it's going to be a custom explosion. Let's go with that. I'll have a lot more time in July for making these 2. I think it's worth it though, Retro. These are it's a new thing for people to try to collect, especially for people who have already kind of finished their collections. It's just something new to be excited about. And I love being able to do that, bring something new and exciting to people. Perfect. So yeah, follow Matt. He's your guy. Wrist. 16, not 20, only 16 of them. And thankfully these guys are pretty tiny. Their eyeballs themselves, I'll probably leave white, so that'll actually knock out half the figure, frankly. They are scuffed up, so I've been on the fence on whether to make them silver. I might make them silver. The irises I will probably, here we go. The irises I'll probably paint red or yellow to go with. Leave the pupil black, of course. And then I've just got the little tiny body here and teeny tiny wings to paint. So those guys won't take as long. Surface area definitely makes a big impact on how long these customs take. And oh my word, I've already been going an hour. Hours fly when you're doing something new like this, I guess. I'm glad you think so. And actually, it's something I've been considering. That's why I bought most of Matt's Sparks is actually, is that after I finish this chess set, to do a Spyro chess set using series 1, 2, 3 Spyro, Sparks as the pawns, Spry as the king, and Cinder as the queen. I thought it'd be kind of a funny joke to leave Spry as the king there, the most valuable piece. So yeah, I'll see if I actually follow through with that. No promises. I have some other things I can do with the Sparks that I got. It is a lot of Sparks, and I actually went ahead and painted 2 of them. They're downstairs, but painted the 2 of them based on the Spyro game I've been recently playing. I've only just started playing Spyro. And he changes colors to the blue and the green. So I decided to have fun with that. And I painted a blue and green Sparks. And I had some fun making his wings all pretty as well. If I decide not to go through with the chess set, I'll probably do more of those. Yeah, a lot of the, it really varies. I've been loving getting these mystery broken boxes from Matt because they are literally $1 a piece when you get 30 of them in a mystery box. And like Gearship here would have been closer to like $15, I think. I don't know, Matt. What's the price on her? I have no idea with most of the Trap Masters. They seem to be a little more up there. But most of these fixes to me are really easy. Like I just had to glue her gear here back on, and otherwise I've got a perfect figure. Some of them are a little more broken. Actually, I'll show you. This is what I'm excited to do. See our lovely Astroblast here. That was one of the broken figures. So I'm going to have to totally remake Astroblast. It's actually what I'm very excited to do. I know what I want to do with them. It's just going to be more time consuming, so I'm waiting for it. So yeah, no figure is too broken for me to do something with to make it new. And I've been loving that. Otherwise, it has been getting a little expensive with how many customs I've been doing. I've got some, yep, missing Astroblast. But I like using clay a lot, so I will have fun remaking him in a new pose. Yeah, some of the customs I've got lined up are also more expensive figures. I might make people a little upset, but I think once I have them done, they look nice enough that people will enjoy it. I have, in fact, customized a Robo. I know it's a crime, but he has so many cool details on him that just get lost in his gray body. So I really wanted to pull a lot of that out. And I'm really happy with how his custom turned out. Maybe I'll get him later and show you guys. That is also a custom I'm keeping. I might do another one of him someday. I don't know. He's a fun one, actually. But yeah, these broken figures are actually probably going to be my primary mode of gathering figures for customs here on out, unless I have a specific project that I want custom for. Like here, see my lovely bowl full of dragons here, all for the fruit dragons. Still have all of those to do. It adds up in a hurry. Even though all the ice small pawns, like ice small, only $5 each, but 16 ice smalls, that's $80 right there. It is a lot of dragons. The only dragons I do not have to custom. I'm not doing Firecracken because he's a swapper. I want to keep it more quadruped dragons. I do have High Five in there though. And then I will not do a Blackout or a Spotlight because that would honestly be a disservice to those two because they look so cool on their very own. And to do them in a fruit theme, no, if I'm going to customize them, I got to find something that would be worth undoing how good they already look. And I don't have Echo in there for the similar reason, although I'm more open to doing a custom of Echo. I've actually got an Echo to custom that I'm planning to do. And then no Breeze, even though Breeze is the one I would love to have in that pile because I have a fun little theme I'm doing with the minis, with the fruit dragons. But I can't quite justify $125 to what is essentially a gag. So I won't be doing Breeze, but she would have been my Blackberry Raspberry. I think I'll do an honorary drawn version of her. It'll make sense once I get those coming out again. Other than that, though, every single dragon, every single series, including Light Cores, is in there. No variants. I have 6 of them completed downstairs. And a half-done blades. She is, and it's unfortunate because she's a really, really cute mini. I did bite the bullet and get her because she was so cute, and I really wanted to have one of every dragon, including the minis, because I'm a big dragon fan. And she's been a really fun one to have, especially because the kids I work with I've got some girls who love the whirlwinds, and so now they have a baby sister whirlwind to play with, and it's wonderful. My favorite custom I've ever done, that is a tough question. All the ones I keep are some of my favorites, but the dark ink splat that I did first off is probably the one I'm going to call my favorite, because of both the experience of making her and the final result is just really satisfying because I did her based off of some of the concept work when she was in fact a dark Skylander. Oh, hang on. Gear shift's got a little bit, right here is a little bit of knob. That is not a bite or anything. It just looks like it is from manufacturer mistake when they're supposed to cut her off from when they molded her. So actually what I'll do here with that is I've got some lovely little X-Acto knives and I'll actually kind of scrape that off. Yeah, I don't blame you on calling it there. That is a much wiser choice than I made, honestly. It is expensive. I work full-time, so I can justify it, and I have very little expense, but I'm definitely going to have to pull back with a lot of my spending here. Kind of wiggle it a little bit. Don't try this at home. It's easy to cut yourself. I have cut myself multiple times using these knives. I have a high tolerance for pain, so I don't mind it so much. But yeah, if you're worried about pain, there we go. So tiny little knobs. It's not perfect, but it'll hide pretty well. Awesome stuff. I can get around her head a bit better. Fill in a bunch of that. Getting close to finishing off the black coat, thankfully. We can move on to the greens, which is what you guys are here for. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of my first Skylanders were entirely funded through babysitting money, which is great because then they went back into helping me babysit. Had some kids love the cool cause, is how he would pronounce it, way back when. So he loved all the superchargers there. But yeah, most of my first Skylanders I got back in high school, and I definitely had to make choices, and I definitely did not pick $100 choices. The most expensive ones I got back then were Echo, Blacka, and Spotlight, but they weren't as expensive as they are now. They were more $30 to $40 range then, not $70 to $80 range. I'm probably gonna recolor her eyes too. Her eye color is fine, but it's not my favorite, honestly, with the red pupils. The blue is nice, but the red in the middle I don't love. Yeah, that is thanks to the job that I have is a very good job. I've been working it for the last 4 years, and I've had very little expense because I've been doing online schooling. So I've had to pay for school, but I've not had to pay for room. I've not had to pay for meal plan, and so it's been pretty nice. And I'm blessed through my family for that. Otherwise, this would not be possible. And switch to a smaller brush again. But then I've got one of her shoulder plates and a bit on her back there, and the rest of her head. But then I can start going over with the greens. And then, oh, well, her thumb back here and some of her fingers. Otherwise, though, you're just about done with the black. Yeah, it really is amazing, and it is a very unique situation. I understand that. So, yeah. I do get taxed in chocolate, though. I have to keep a steady supply of that going. Let's see. Let me know if you guys are able to see decently. I can probably adjust a little bit of what I'm doing for you guys. I've not been paying much attention to my screen and how this looks on camera. Getting under her jaw, all the little white bits down here. I'm gonna go over her lips. I'm not gonna might paint those with different color. Might just leave it. Her eyebrows, those are really thin. I'm just gonna paint right over those as well. Go back with a fine-tuned brush with a different color for those later. If then. Do I do other types besides Skylanders? So custom-wise, no, not yet. I've literally only been doing these Skylanders for about 3 months now. um, I'm open to trying some other stuff, but I'm not really much of a Nintendo or Disney Infinity person, so I don't have any of those. Those would probably be the next most obvious thing to try to paint. But there are some other franchises I might enjoy doing, like I actually enjoy the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, and they have some decent figures. So if I were to get some of the cheaper ones of those could be fun to repaint. Maybe in the future. I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do with Skylanders, and I have no intent to swap to something different at this point. But I've also actually really enjoyed the Little Rainbow Friends monsters. Those are really cute, I think, and I've got some kids in my class, yes, 5-year-olds who enjoy them. And so I've recently ordered some little mini figures of those guys, the official ones. And if I have duplicates on those, I will possibly paint some of those, some fun metallics. I do not a 3D printed Imaginator or just a 3D printer. I don't have a 3D printer. I use clay. 3D printing is something I would absolutely love to invest in years in the future after my schooling is done. And I'd also have to learn 3D modeling on a software as opposed to doing it by hand. But yeah, 3D printing is something I would absolutely love to learn. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's right. Um, I do remember about that. No, I do not have one because, frankly, I didn't really care much for the Imaginator aspect. It was fun to make some. I have not touched my creation crystals since like 2016 or 17. Because to me, I love the characters that they have already made. I really enjoy these characters. I love writing these characters. It's not just their cool, like some cool move sets. I have fun playing around with them storytelling wise. And the Imaginators are shoo-ins for OCs. And I have a bit of a stigma against OC characters. And so no, I've not been particularly interested in trying to do much with the imagination crystals or the 3D the 3D ones you could have ordered. I don't think they run that anymore, do they? I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. I wouldn't have been able to afford it very well, or it wouldn't be worth trying to afford it back when I actually played with my Imaginators some. I will say, though, the Imaginators are great with concept for our kids being able to make their own. That I do love. I do love that there's a game like that. That is a really cool thing to have. But when it comes to options, I like the actual characters. I don't mind creating my own character if it serves the story to a good extent. Creating an OC that is like your special OC or your stand-in, or just if it takes the place of a main character, I don't like that. I do like creating supporting OCs, antagonists, or other such things. Yeah, I'm not surprised. They're cool though. It is really cool that they had that in the first place to be able to 3D print your Imaginator. That is really cool. But I am a-okay with not having done it. Actually, I was thinking it'd be kind of a fun gag lock to toss all my Imaginators that I don't even remember how they look into a lock. That would be kind of funny. Send my children out to die. Add the lane next to this a good bit. Scrape the black off. Got some weak. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the weak bits and pieces here. With the bronze coloring I'm going to have to go through. getting around her head here behind her gear on her back is going to be a little bit of a, not as hard as some of the other figures I've done. Usually if you keep turning the figure around, you'll find a good angle to stick a brush down in and get it. Nice. I've actually, the most games I've played the most are Imaginators and Superchargers because my Xbox 360. So I did play Spyro's Adventure. Or that was the first game I did play, even though I started in 2016. And I played that for a while, and I got some of the other games on it. But our Xbox 360 broke down, and we went to just using an Xbox One. So I've never played Giants ever. And I can no longer play Spyro's Adventure with console that I've got in my family. Even then, I rarely actually play the games even. And Superchargers is my favorite, so I'm happily have that one available. I don't even think I've completed Swap Force or Trap Team, to be honest. Again, I pick my favorites more on the characters that they have than the actual gameplay. It's a little bit of a skewed judgment, I know. But I enjoy both of those games very much from the bits I've played. It's just a lot of time consuming, and I could play them, or I could paint more toys. I mean, it's choices. Imaginators, I actually bit the bullet and got on the Switch because it's a lot easier for me to play things on the Switch than it is to get the console out. So I can play that essentially anytime that I have a little bit of free time, whereas the console I have to have a big block of time to really sit down and enjoy it. So I do have that on Switch, and that's now the one I play the most often. Giants got you into Skylanders? Whales, that is, yeah, Thumpback is actually one of the cooler looking giants. I actually only have Tree Rex in my giant, as my personal giant. I've got a couple Ninjinis and a couple Crushers and a couple Swarms now from the broken bins. I'm not going to keep any of them. I don't feel any particular desire to keep most of the giants. They just aren't quite my favorites. And I'm not actually setting out to collect all Skylanders. I'm happy with the characters that I like and the ones I think are just fun or fun for the kids to play with. But otherwise, I don't want to have so many that I feel like I'm really neglecting a lot of them. So that's why I'm good with not keeping all of them. But yeah, Thumpback is actually probably my favorite design of the giants. I might have to get one of him eventually. Oh, him and Eyebrawl. I really like Eyebrawl. He's one giant I wouldn't mind getting. I do have one of him in the broken bin, missing his wings. So I'll have fun remaking wings for that one. And when I remake something for a Skylander, I like to make it new. I don't like to just repeat or recreate what was already there. I like making it look fun. Got a little bit of an angle down in here. It's going to take me a minute to get it down correctly without ruining other stuff. You like the Scarlet Ningini? She does look pretty cool. That's actually kind of where I based off of how I did the emerald color scheme. And I have another one who really, same thing with both of the Ninjinis. I've gotten their arm and sword was broken off of the figure. And it's a little bit of a pain where you glue that one the way you have to hold it in place for a bit. But other than that, she's not too terribly broken, so I can definitely have fun with her. I'm probably going to keep with the theme of a special color. So, Scarlet's been done. I've done green, emerald for green. So I was considering Sapphire, do blue scheme. I'm not sure that would look the best, though, with her already blue face. I might actually go... she's already purple, so Amethyst is out of the question. Carnelian could be fun with gemstones. That's a very orange gemstone, so I might actually go that route. There's not a ton of orange coloration outside of the tech element. Alright. Get her fingers down this way. what are some of your guys' favorite variants in general, in game or chase? I think my favorite of all variants that I've seen and that I have is the Snow Bright Stormblade. The brown and dark green and all the little colored feather blades are just so pretty to me. Oh yeah, I guess it would be late for you. To me, it is only noon. I'm way in Alaska, so it is 12:34 p.m. for me. So yeah, um, yeah. You have a great day. Thank you so much for coming in. This has been awesome having people actually come and want to watch me paint. It's been so new, but I love it. I might have to do this more often when I have the time. Crystal clear hot dog. That is fun. But which one? I hear there's 3 different ones. You got to pick 3 different fire colors. If I'm remembering my variants right. I don't know. I don't have an extensive knowledge of all the little variants. Purple flame. That's solid. Purple's a good color. Low-key underrated though, I feel like. Like people like it when they see it, but they don't usually go straight for it. Good choice. You have a good one. Thank you so much, Firebone. I got her totally off screen, but I need to for a little bit of a close-up. Bye. I'll definitely off stream go back through and touch up a lot of these little details that I'm neglecting. You know, it's all good. Her breastplate here has a ridge that kind of hides little bits. Mystical Bad Juju. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't think I have her. I have regular Bad Juju, and I haven't played with her since I first had played Skylanders, but she was definitely one of my favorites. Imaginators. I might have a mystical. I don't know. I got some variants, but I've got them all in a box, so it's hard for me to remember which ones I have and don't sometimes. Which is why I actually stem off buying new ones if I'm having trouble remembering which ones I do and don't have. Sands of Choppy Mage. Jade Firecracken. I do like the Jades. Those ones are really pretty. I don't actually care for the holiday themed ones very much. Especially Christmas themes. I don't know. Christmas has always been one of those holidays that I feel is oversaturated. So I don't love the variants to it. I like Halloween, honestly, the most is my favorite holiday. And the Easter ones, I love Easter as a holiday, but I don't love the pastel color look on these figures. I like more vivid, bright colors and pastels mixed with good contrast. But pastel over pastel, when you have like 10 different colors, I don't love that very much. And that's just a me thing with color taste. So yeah, those holiday ones I don't typically go for very often. But the Snow Bright Stormblade, that is the exception, and I do love her color scheme. It's more natural compared to a lot of the other ones, like Mistletoe Dive-Clops and so forth. And I love forest looking things. Salty, the Valentine Heart Buckshot was never released. Hang on, Retro. Give me just a minute. I'll be right back. Stay right there. Okay, so I've been asked about this before, and I will never make the Heartbreaker Buckshot. I know a lot of other people who've done customs. That's one of the first ones they do, the unreleased Valentine variant. But what I did make is an alter ego version. This is Brokenhearted Buckshot. He's mirrored, so bear that in mind, but it's like a fun, dark variation take on the Valentine. So this is my Brokenhearted Buckshot. Got the blood tear streaks on him. A dark pink and blacks rather than light pink and white. And he's probably actually one of my favorite ones that I've done. I'm glad you think so. So that is my stand-in for the never released Heartbreaker Buckshot. And I don't love the really light pink and the white combination of the unreleased Heartbreaker. But I get why people do enjoy making him and recreating what was lost. But to me, I don't really want to look backwards in making these things and trying to do the things that never really happened. I like just making new things, taking things ways that people never even thought they could go. So that is my thoughts on the customs. And also a little bit of stipulation that people looking for an actual Heartbreaker Buckshot, I feel bad if they are fooled, even accidentally, by a custom version of them if they're trying to really seriously want to find a real one. And so that's one hesitation there that I have with trying to make any customs based on actual figures that were going to be released or have been released but are rare. So that's my take on that. But I'm always happy to make something new with any character. And I mean any character. I have painted Robo, so can't get any higher than that. And then Thrillipede is doable through his Easter variation. So if I were to get a excited Thrillipede, I could easily custom one of those. So Thrillipede isn't off the table at all there. I wouldn't do his green version, though, because there are so many excited Thrillipedes available to do instead. Yeah, I hear that's what they said with Buckshot, was that the red eyes were too scary looking. I don't mind a bit of scary in this. I mean, they've got skeletons. I don't know why that was too much of a problem. They've got Ghost Roaster as a Skylander. So I don't know what they're saying there, but oh well. It is what it is. It's Skylander history. I don't think we're going to get her thumb back on there. I think that's kind of the way the figure is set up. It's not based on the way I glued it either. I think it's just kind of permanently detached. Ah, well. I don't think it was ever actually attached. Yeah, based on the way the paint looks on it. Hide it under there. You like the design because of the red eyes? All the little detail always takes a bit of time, but we're getting close to adding the greens. As I said, paint and chat, because painting on its own is not super entertaining. Not gonna lie. I typically watch things when I do this. Get her fingers. We're close, we're close. Okay, and this also is taking longer than it normally would have simply because I'm going back and forth. And it's new. But as I do this more often, if I do it more often, I think I'll get a lot better about making this a bit more visually entertaining for people. Maybe I'll break it up with some other fun stuff. But here we go. Get a little bit around her wrist here. And otherwise, I think it's not a perfect coat of black, but because it is a supplemental coat for the green I'm going to do, leave it there. Frankly, it actually really looks cool on so just the bronze. Let's turn on this light here. It's gonna really no, washes it out too much. I think you can see alreght. Her black definitely creates a bit of a void there. I'm stuck with you. Going hour 40 minutes. Yeah, this is definitely a slow custom with the stream. I probably would have had this part done within an hour otherwise, but it is a-okay. I do not mind it going a little slower so that I can share and chat with you guys. Okay, but for the fun part, this green definitely needs to stir, and I'm actually gonna have to pop it open and stir, not just shake it. See there, little bubble. That's the clearest stuff that they mix. So if you see, I don't know how well you can see it there, but you've got a very clear, here, kind of push it up. There you go. It's a very clear gel right here at the top. And then underneath, all the actual metallic colors have settled. So I'm going to get one of my longer brushes here. I'm just going to stick it in and use it to stir, and I'll wipe it off on my towel. Here you can see, very colored brush. Start scraping that back into the bottle so I don't waste a bunch of the paint. That's my biggest issue with having to mix these, is it pulls a lot of the paint out of the bottle and onto the brush here. But then I can just take the brush onto my palette and I kind of just roll it, and it scrapes a bunch of the paint onto the palette. And that'll be enough for me to use. Wipe it off over here. I think this will be pretty solid green to start with. It's very dark, so it'll be good to add in the lighter greens over top. How long have I been painting? You mean overall with figures, or just painting in general? There's a lot of answers to that question. All right, let's start with some easy to see here with her arm. In general, I've been painting for as long as I can remember. I took some local classes throughout elementary school. Those are okay. I've been very much freeform, kind of do my own thing growing up. But yeah, throughout, as long as I can remember, I've been the artist of the family, the artist of the school. It has just been ingrained in my life. So painting has been a very long-standing art for me. The figures, I've only been painting for about 3 months. In fact, my icon is painting of Nightfall that I did 2016. And she's been my Rainstorm Riddles profile picture ever since, and I'm happy to stick with it. She's actually probably my favorite watercolor painting I've ever done. I enjoy watercolor the most when painting on paper, though. Acrylic's the best for the 3D. There you go. You can really see her green. See, I'm really glad I went with the black backdrop, because this means this one coat of green looks good without having to go on with a second coat of the same green. I can start doing details in the lighter greens. And honestly, it would probably look pretty good to leave a lot of the crevices that I was having to really get down with the fine brush. If I just leave those black, it'll actually look pretty decent as natural shading. So a lot of like down on her arm. I might not have to bother with that, so I'll let it go a bit faster. I'll definitely have to go through and touch up where the green reaches down in there, because then that'll become noticeable. But otherwise, that kind of fine detail stuff I can save for after the stream. You don't have the patience for figure painting. That is definitely one of the big things, that you have to have patience with it. It is a time-consuming process, and if you don't enjoy the process and you're just after the final project, then it's not going to be fun for you. I enjoy the process of the painting, of seeing it come to life, and so it is all good and well with me to do this over and over again, but I can definitely see where for a lot of people it would not be their bread and butter. Hang on, I'm going to mute this for just a minute, guys. Give me just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I just had to check something to see where my timing was going to be at. My family is expecting company within a couple hours, so I probably won't be able to stream past. Oh, no, I've got a good bit of time. I've got at least another hour here, so we're good. We're good. I should be able to get gear shift fully done so you guys can see the process start to finish. Something under there. There you go. See the green come to life. Paint to life stream, totally. One of a kind channels. You guys get to see all the rough and dirty details without the editing or the time lapse. It's actually something I enjoy people getting to see is how many mistakes and rough patches there typically are in both drawing and painting. There are definitely moments. Getting her breastplate done. My lighting isn't the best for the stream, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I'm pretty limited. My overhead light that I have here, it washes the colors out really badly. Even in person, I never really turn it on. So I just kind of use my general house light, which is very good lighting, but for the stream here, it's a little dark. Might have to invest in some good lighting if I continue to do this. We'll see. There we go, got her backpack gear there done on the top. Surface bit, now to get all the little bits in between. The green shows up pretty good. Black's just kind of a void. Go. Good start. Her head I'm going to do entirely with a smaller brush. Well, the back of the head I might go with a thicker brush, but I'll wait for a finer brush to get the finer details around the eyes and the gear there. I don't want to get paint on top of those and mess that up. It is a chore to go back through and touch up all the little nicks. It's inevitable. Her wrist here. One interesting thing with the Skylander design, and I've really been paying attention to with drawing them, is that their forearms are bigger than their biceps typically. With an arm, you typically, from the elbow down, get smaller. With these guys, from the elbow to the wrist, you get fatter. And it's a very fun look. It means their hands are as big as their faces half the time. That's always wonky to do. The chill I did yesterday is just a little off. She's not terrible, but drawing people like Skylanders is always a little funny. The animals are pretty easy. Did those get a laugh though, Matt? The jokes that only Skylander collectors are gonna get? I've got a few more of those planned, and some of them might be only funny to legit intense Skylander collectors, but I've got some general ones that I hope every Skylander fan will be able to get a laugh out of too. Perfect. Yeah, the chill was directly inspired by your video explaining the different colored lips. She's the idea that sparked the series. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad this is somewhat entertaining for people. The old saying of watching paint dry, but you can watch the paint go on it too. Starting to get shiny. Metallics are probably my favorite type of paint just because they're shiny, and why do matte colors when you can do shiny colors? It's so fun. I have every color you can imagine in shiny shades, which isn't a lot of colors. There's really just 6 primary colors, gray, black, white, and browns. But still, all right, I'm going to get her fingers here. I'm actually going to have to get some fresh metallic down when it's spread out in a big, you can see, the big line like that for my brush. It dries faster than when I have it all in a little bead. But definitely being messy with the gear, but that's okay. I'm going to go over some more coats on that anyway. I think I'm about ready for a finer brush, and this one's starting to get sticky from all the paint already in it. There we go. Better angle. Got her upper part nice and green. I'm going to decide on the other ones. Probably start with the lighter green highlight and really see where to draw some colors out. With her being a robot, she's got some of these fun little pieces on her arms that'll be nice to draw out, but she doesn't have all that many bolts and stuff the way Robo did, and he's the only robot character I've done so far. No, that's not true. I did one Drobot, but he was to be looking like a cantaloupe, so I didn't really pay attention much to his gears and stuff. Okay, go with this one here. And yeah, for the most part, I'm really just sticking to the 2 brushes with this one. I don't go between tons of brushes. It's more of a hassle than it is productive to have too many brushes out. This green, we can go around. Let's get fingertips to start. There. Actually, I'm going to move my camera down a bit. That way, as I'm pulling her closer to my face, you guys can still have her within shot. But for a lot of these finer bits, I tend to get up close to the figure. That was my biggest issue. So I did try recording, simply recording, not live streaming painting before I realized that it would take way too long for me to edit that to be productive with it. And one of the biggest issues was just keeping it in shot while also being able to get close enough to see all the fine details that I have to get into. This seems like a pretty decent compromise, though. I do have footage, though, of the tomb buggy that I did and the chests that I cut open. So I might pull that out eventually and do something with it. I'm definitely like the colors we've got going here with the green and bronze and little bits of blacks in between. Her shoulder piece here is going to be a bit of a trick to get in. Go this one first. Out of curiosity, what are some characters you guys would like to see painted in the future? legitimately open to any character under the sun, as long as it's a Skylander. Not including Bowser and Donkey Kong. They, to me, I don't mind them being guest characters, but I do not like them taking the place of a Skylander. So I probably won't ever do customs of them. But other than that, or Crash or Cortex. Let me know characters that you guys would be interested in, and I could probably start brainstorming stuff for future streams. That'll do that gear for now. Get her head done. Drobot is your favorite? Ooh, I have 2 or 3 of those in the broken bin. So that is definitely a figure you're going to see more of. I got 3 different mystery boxes, which will have repeat characters, but Matt's actually really good about sending different characters in the same box, so you aren't going to get duplicates. But yes, there will be Drobot. He is a fun dragon. Cool backstory, too, with being a weaker dragon that made himself his armor. I really like that about him. Got a good variety, too, with poses. Sunburn? I do have a sunburn done. I don't think you have to have a Twitter to look, but if you look at my Twitter, I did a blue fire sunburn. It's also on Reddit, so you can check on Reddit. There is a sunburn done. And I will have another sunburn for my dragon fruit series. I already know what fruit I'm going to do, but I'm not going to spoil it here. I do need to get on those, though. Probably, I'm probably going to hold off until July to really jump back into them. Not this next week, maybe the week after this week I'll do some dragon fruit dragons. Yeah, Blue Fire Sunburn was actually one of the first things I knew I wanted to do once I decided to go full steam ahead on this customization thing. I'm a sucker for phoenixes, and I love Blue Fire phoenixes. Got kind of her under her head there and under her eyes. Start working on the top here. A little nose. She's a really pretty figure when it comes to complexion, the way they did her face. A lot of the female figures are cores, and they're so small that their features are fairly flat, but they got a good look on Gear Shift here. Flashwing. In a butterfly type of pattern, that is a thought. That would be really pretty with her. I agree. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I enjoy butterfly and moth patterns in general. There's definitely stuff there I would like to play with. I actually have a whirlwind who is missing her wings. I've been on the fence. One way, she actually looks really cool without her wings, frankly, as more of a dragonish look. Or I've actually been considering doing some sort of butterfly-like wing. Either using clay or trying some other clear medium, to try to get a translucent wing. I don't want that looking cheap and plasticky, though, so I'll probably go the clay route, which will be fragile, but it'll look better, I think. Choices. Okay, this is really starting to pull out some of the look with her gear on her head here. That'll be a good bit of detail to be able to pull out using some of the different greens. This is a very dark green here, so I'm definitely going to want a lot of lighter ones to come into play, especially with the dark backing. But it looks good with the bronze. Very foresty gear shift. Maybe next time I try this, if I have time, I will try to pull out some of the clay work. That is one thing I considered about doing, but that I decided to start simple with some figures that would be simply paint jobs. But I do want a chance eventually to be able to show you guys what it looks like to use clay to make these things, because I know that is not as common of a thing when making custom Skylanders. It's looking pretty good so far. Definitely is gonna need some other colors though to counterbalance all of this big swaths. Clay. So I haven't made Skylanders entirely from clay, but I do a lot of customization using clay. So there will be one Skylander that I essentially make entirely from clay, minus a boot, because I showed it earlier, but I've got Astro Blast here, that is literally just a boot. So I will be essentially making an entire Astro Blast out of clay. Here's another one I'm actually going to be making a lot of clay on. This Fiesta, but he's a brand new Fiesta. Actually, I pulled him out of a box. So he was in box. I've gonna do his little amigos on him. So I'm gonna have like one holding onto his hat here, probably one sitting on his arm. So I'm gonna make at least 3 of his little amigos. A mini Astro Blast. I could do that. But no, I kind of want to do him. So with his moveset, he shoots up into the sky to rain down an asteroid. That pose of him aiming his gun upwards, I think would be a really cool one to have. So that's one we're going to go with there. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of see how it looks. I got to consider the angle that the boot already is in, because I am going to leave that in it. And so yeah, it'll be a really fun one to try out. It'll be a challenge because I got to make the entire figure out of clay, but I'm glad you think so. He is my favorite light Skylander and one of my favorite Skylanders in general. I know he is very underrated and not the most popular Skylander, especially when it comes to the lights, but I love him. He is fun. My brush wash is getting funky. Flying Potato, what is your favorite Skylander? What Skylanders would you like to see be custom eventually? The transparent parts? I am not going to make them transparent. Well, I could. I do have resin. I could cast in resin. That's a whole other level of stuff that I don't think I want to bother. But what I will do is I'll use lots of metallics to give that. He is not super translucent anyway. He is fairly translucent, not transparent. So it will still look good with him to use metallic colors to get that sparkly look he's got. What I might use though is some of my glowing clay, so that in the dark he will glow even under some. I don't know. The glow paint does hide pretty well under the stuff. Yeah, shiny. Shiny is a good option always. Maybe one day when I'm feeling really hardcore, I'll do a custom using resin. So I'll have to make the piece first in clay. I'll have to cast it, then I'll have to mix the right colors in resin, and then I'll have to resin it. Glowing is cool. I love my glow clay. Glowing is a favorite of mine. It's fairly limited color-wise, which is why I like using black light paints as well. But it's always fun. with the cinder I did, with all the bones, I did all of those in a glow clay. That was a lot of fun. Very satisfying to look at. Pick a brush for her earmuffs. Oh, awesome! I'm excited to get them. Yeah, comics are something that I don't feel the need to collect every Skylander, but collecting every comic and every Skylander book, that's doable. They aren't high enough demand to be super pricey, and they are good material for me to work with. So yeah, I'm excited to get those in. Thank you so much, Matt, providing such a cheap, easy way to get a bunch of mini micro comics. I really am looking forward to bring those to the preschool too for the kids to look through. I'm not joking. I've got came out around Trap Team, so it has all the characters through Trap Team minus Dark and Light. It's a character guidebook, so it's got little shortened versions of their backstories. And oh my word, it is probably the most popular book in my preschool. And it's been a month now that I've had that there, and they just love it so much. It's adorable. Kids love looking through books in general. It's great. High Five and Deja Vu, those are good. A stone hot dog. Actually, that is a great option for hot dog. In fact, a lot of this fire Skylanders with the lava texturing would also look very good as gargoyle statue-like figures. And that is definitely a good option. If I get another hot dog, I'm going to try the moon thing first, I think, with a hot dog. But I would not mind trying a stone one with another lava-like character as well. Very much so, yes. Very, very attractive to kids. And these kids are smart. So they are going through the book and recognizing characters and explaining to teachers, they're this element. This is who this character is. I've got one little boy who, prior to me showing them Skylanders, had seen Skylanders Academy. So I pull out these Skylanders and he's immediately, oh, there's Spyro, there's Stealth Elf, there's Eruptor. And he loves it more than any other kid. But all of them enjoy finding their favorite characters or finding a figure and then finding the character. I am raising the next generation of Portal Masters. That is correct. Well, assisting. It's yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I love the kids that I work with. I've been using Skylanders with babysitting since I was a teenager. So yeah, it's been intertwined for me. And when I have time, for sure, I'll read them the backstories. They'll be flicking through. Some kids just want to hear every single Skylander, so they just go to the next page. Read this one now. Read this one. Some of them have their favorites. Like I've got one little girl who loves Tough Luck. And they've never seen gameplay of these things, by the way. They've just got the toys to go off. And oh my word, Tough Luck is the character. And so every single time she opens the book to that page, it's very funny. The dragons are probably my most popular type of figure overall, though the dragons are quickly singled out. I have one little girl who, all the whirlwinds, she picks out all the whirlwinds and makes them into this family, and it's great. All right, most of the top section is done. I'm going to put it down here, but it's her shins and her feet. Oh, I missed part of her face here. Then I'm going to go ahead and do another set on the gear. Then I'm going to start playing around with other colors. A bit of purple would probably look good. I don't know. I love greens and purples going together too. I was never into Skylanders at its peak. I just kind of missed that boat. I wasn't very aware of it. I remember way back when I was in middle school going to someone's house. That was the first time I ever saw Skylanders. I remember distinctly seeing a flash wing because my middle school brain went, oh my goodness, there's the gemstone dragon. Yes, let me play with it. And I remember the kid who owned them went and showed me their poster, but I wasn't super interested in all the other stuff. I really just wanted the dragons. And then it wasn't until later in high school, back when Skylanders Academy came out, that I really discovered what the series actually was and got into it. So yeah, I never really saw it at its peak. I was able to get half my superchargers in person at GameStops. But Alaska is very limited on our store options. So I didn't have a lot. We didn't have like Toys R Us or stuff like that to go to. And then most of my Imaginators I first got were good. I got Starcast and Hoodstickle both in person. My Mysticat I got as a gift, but Ambush. Oh, there's a lot of ones that I liked, but I couldn't get all of them, obviously. Other than that, though, I very much missed the boat. That is something that's really cool. And people who I talk to who are a little confused as to why this is my particular hobby, they do appreciate that these are more than just toys, that they are a game piece as well as a figure. So people, no matter what kind of person, they all think that is a neat aspect. If they do make new Skylander games, I hope they make new figures. I don't want them to make new characters, or not very many. What I want to see more is essentially what they did with Superchargers with reimagining. They don't have to be totally redoing the cat movesets the way they did with that, but I would love to see new poses and new looks for these characters. But not any more new characters for the sake of storytelling. I want to see more storytelling with the characters we have. And I would actually love to see, even with the vehicles, I would love to see more vehicles released, but essentially of their supercharged versions. Or what would be really cool is if they made vehicle toys that you could customize yourself, like snap-on pieces. That would be absolutely doable. Have fewer of them, and more familiar characters. I think that would be the way to go. I think it would be really cool to do swappers sent out already swapped. So if you were to get Freeze Shift and Nightblade in separate packages, that I think would be really cool and could very well tie into the story. Series 2 Giants. Exactly. I want to see some reposes of not all of the characters of each special type, but some of them, some of the giants. I would love to see I would love to see a quadruped giant, actually. Like a giant snow leopard or something. That would be cool. I want to see a few of the superchargers redone because they're close enough to cores that I think would work really well with them. Same with Trapmasters and Swappers. Yeah. In the meantime, though, I do enjoy customizing the vehicles as much as I do the characters, and I like making picking and choosing the parts that they have in game. This Shield Striker, I'm just going to go with his regular supercharged version to match the figure once I get that figure done. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with the Sea Shadow. That'll be way back one of my earlier customs. But I did the Sea Shadow, and I kind of cheated a little bit. You can't actually have the angler tail and the manta ray fins at the same time, but I kind of cheated with the custom and gave it both anyway because they both looked really cool, and I love sea creatures, so that was a very fun one to do. And the cool thing is you wouldn't have to do it now that those games are already released. If you were to make a game that's kind of all-encompassing, you wouldn't have to do it with every single vehicle and every single character. You could just pick and choose a few vehicles to do it with, say 2 of each class. I really like to be pretty even on the elements too, though, so that throws a little bit of a wrench in it. Doing the awkward Skylanders forms, the custom I wanted to do in the back of my mind. What do you mean by awkward Skylanders forms? What do you mean by that? From the mobile game? Which mobile game? I hear there's a lot of them. I've done one custom from Ring of Heroes and at least one from Lost Islands. Ring of Heroes? Okay. So you just want to do the Awakened. I read that as awkward. I'm so sorry. The Awakened forms. Yes, that is possible. I already done a light jetpack that was from Ring of Heroes, and I had fun with doing a dark counterpart too. Because if you got one light, you gotta have a dark too. I like that balance aspect. But that is definitely something I would like to look into. Yeah, Nightfall might be an option there. I don't know. I don't love the red on her as much as I like purple and blue on her, but it works. It works. The red and gold together don't look too great. I think that's my biggest thing there. But there's definitely some of them that can be really fun. I wish the game was still playable so I could just go in there and look at what all their awakened forms look like. I didn't play it a ton. I played it a little bit. I definitely played through the night when they first introduced Nightfall, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't play much longer after that. That I can always do. I can always edit details with Clay. It is really fun having that within my skill set to do, and not be limited by what's already there. You can remake and make new. So options are truly endless for a lot of these guys. Something I've also been considering is if I'm successful with the Astroblast custom, that is just a foot, I may go ahead and try making some other things entirely from clay, such as Mesmerelda. I wouldn't just want to make a bunch of reposes of Skylanders, but to do villains and stuff like that, just making clay figures of those, that could be fun. The biggest issue there is I wouldn't want to keep those long term, and having something entirely out of clay, it takes a lot of clay, and clay can get expensive if you're using a lot of it. But then shipping them is definitely a hit or miss. Clay always has a level of fragility to it, so you gotta be conscientious on how you make it, and then pack it super well and cross your fingers and pray. That is the truth about the clay. I think we are just about done with the base coat of the green. Concept, kind of going, honestly, kind of winging it. We decided that bronze and green were the colors to go with, but more of a, you know how images you get of ancient machinery, overgrown in jungle, kind of that aesthetic. Not exactly. I'm not trying to make her look like a statue, but kind of going with that machine in a natural environment vibe. So something like that. We're going greens and browns. And all shiny colors. right now on her own, I'm not loving what this on its own. It looks okay, but it definitely needs a bit more character to it. So I'm going to start going through, and I might need a third color in the mix to really bring it all together. In fact, I'm actually thinking a bit of yellow might do her good, but let's first get with this lighter green here. And I think that's the first step to figuring out how to make the rest of her look. Now I'm going to get into some more detail work. And I can't guarantee that I will get her fully done within the stream. I'll do my best, but like I said, these things can take up to 3 hours, and with her being a bigger figure, it's definitely going to be longer and all that stuff. So that's starting right here on her wrist with this much lighter green. Get these little binding pieces on her wrist and highlight those details you wouldn't normally be drawn to. They kind of fade on their own. There we go. They really pop out in the darker parts. Yeah, she definitely needs a lot more lighter colors on her. She's a very dark figure overall right now. And I love dark looking figures, but they want a more vibrant look to her. Might go over the dark green with some color shift greens. That's a bit messy there. This color, the whole pad. Old copper. Yep. The color shifts are definitely thinner than the straight metallic greens. So I'll have to go over with a couple coats on some of them, I'm thinking. Nice. Okay. So her gear here on her back. Let's see. Color the top of it here, but I'm not going to color the edges. I think give it a bit of a dual tone. Stay within, so it's got a raised portion. Try to stay in that and leave the dark center, that darker green. Yeah, the brush strokes are definitely more noticeable with this shade. That's okay. We'll go over again later. They're getting that brighter color. And then she's got this little symbol thing here on her back. Go ahead and do with this color as well. Similar to what Ninjini has on her arms, actually. There goes good. First pass on it. A little on the gear there. Clean that up later. Let's see. She's got, so on her breastplate here, she's got a midsection there that I'm going to go ahead and paint pink and leave the lower section, paint green. Oh, some pinks on this one. No, pink probably won't do it. Purple could work, but not pink, I don't think, on this one. Leave this, make this part the lighter green, and then leave the lower part the darker green. I might need a more, so this is a very dark pine green here. I might want to go for a more jungle green on some parts. Go look into my colors there, find a better mid-range. Oh, sorry, I'm pulling her out of view again. I could always go with a non-metallic color for her pipe bits here as well. Sorry, not a non-metallic, but a non-copper color. There, you can see her different color there. Same with these earpieces here on her head. Go ahead and get these little gear bits. light green. Get the centerpiece done too. I'm gonna leave the top part here though available for a third color for the moment. I use acrylics. Acrylics are really nice. They are a plastic-based paint, and they dry very fast, all things considered. So I'm able to not have to worry about wait time too much with painting coats. By the time I finish a character's body, the part that I first started with is already dry, and I can just go back to that. So I really enjoy the acrylics. They are thick overall. Now, the drawback with acrylics is if you're doing so many coats that they will eventually start to cover up the finer details in a figure, like if you're doing scales in a dragon. Too many coats can start to dull that scale pattern, but overall, they are very ideal. You never want to have too big of a drop of acrylic out at a time, though, because it dries, and then you have to remix the color if you're mixing colors. I really do enjoy mixing colors, actually, but for these figures where I need some level of consistency, I try not to too much. I try to keep a consistent single color from the bottle. That way I can replicate it if what I have dries out. Or if I want to do another figure like it. There we go. Getting some highlights there. She definitely needed highlights for sure. Actually, here on her knuckles, you can see there's a little bit of a bronze color between her fingers there. I'm actually going to replace that. While it's a fine color for this color scheme, I'm going to get my brush just tip thinner to get down in there a bit nicer. I'm going to do this as lighter green because you could use some more green down there by her fingers. No worries. Have fun trying this out. I love seeing other people get inspired by this and want to try their own. It is definitely something I recommend at least trying. You got to be ready for an imperfection. That's the biggest thing. Patience, expect imperfection. Put in there. Sorry. There we go, that's good. Having a bit of green down on her knuckles there. I'm actually, the way her hands are done, I can actually do that with a lot of her joints. Even thicker here. Gonna make it look good though, and not messy. My favorite element, between probably overall Undead. Undead has a lot of wins, but I love the Dark element too. Seems a bit morbid, but they just have such fun characters. I generally like the Life element too, color-wise. I love the greens and the browns. Air Skylanders, I feel like I should like more though. There's a lot of bland Air Skylanders I find. Like Gusto and Thunderbolt to me are both pretty bland. Stormblade is great. And then, of course, Scratch and Sonic Boom, both of those three are all good. Having the Griffin, Whirlwind is good. I think some good Blades. Blades is a great Air Skylander. Popthorn is another fun one, having a little pufferfish in the air. There's some good air ones. Fire, kind of mid-range. It's not what I'm typically drawn to, but there's several good ones, and none I don't dislike. Like you get Wildfire, you get Smolder Dash, so you got a lot of good ones. Tech is another one I'm not typically drawn to naturally, but I'm definitely good with a lot of the Skylanders. Like I love High Bolt. He is my favorite tech. Otherwise, though, not any particular standouts there. My biggest standout for water is probably Tide Pool and Freeze Blade. Freeze Blade's great. Overall, though, I think the elements have pretty decent balances. I'd actually say white overall. Oh no, I really like Spotlight and Astroblast. Nightlight, I love his design paired with and concept paired with Nightmare, but when just looking at Skylanders, he's not my favorite. And neither is Blastertron or Aurora. But I really like Solar Flare Aurora. She's got some cool colors there. Overall, Dark and Undead, those are where it's at. You just have so much fun with all the different kinds of undead you get in there. Magic has a good variety too, I'll say. It's a very open-ended element. Earth is probably the one I'm least drawn to out of all of them. But you're right, there are strengths and weaknesses in each. Except for Dark, really. I feel like Dark is all, to me, it's all wins. If not in gameplay, in design. There we go, got some good. Okay, this is definitely looking better with having more of these lighter greens on her, for sure. That is definitely starting to pull it together into a much more coherent figure. Her face from the front definitely needs something more. I don't know if I want to do it on her lips or not, though. And it could just be that I need to do her eyes different color. I'm going a light purple or a lavender. I got a good metallic lavender might do well on her eyes. Maybe give her green irises. Let's think. So let's go ahead and wash my brush out real fast. Go ahead and do her details on her legs. I've neglected those a bit here. Go ahead, down on her legs here. This green that I am using is a color shift green. It's fairly between the green and yellow look, so that's why it's perfect for this. Color shifts are really just fancy metallics. There we go. I like her kneecap. It's pretty much hidden by her wrist there. Let's get this other kneecap done, though. It should look a bit better. More visible. Her patches. I'm pretty sure those are crimps. This kind of piece here, attaching the two pieces of metal. Pretty sure that would be a crimp. You can see her leg pretty well there. Prison Break, Dino-Ring, Bash, Scorp, those are all good ones. They're just not my personal. Part of the factor you gotta consider is that I am a girl, and I do typically tend to enjoy the female characters more often than the male characters. So, whereas I know a lot of guys really enjoy Prison Break. He's not my personal cup of tea. Same with Dino Ring. Although I love the concept of a dinosaur, a stegosaurus with boomerangs. That is awesome. I actually wouldn't mind doing a custom of him. He could be a really fun custom with all his back plates and the boomerangs. Flashwing, I do enjoy Flashwing. She is actually probably the first Skylander I ever put hands on, because she was a crystal dragon. Water's the weakest. I can definitely see that. But there's also when water has a win, I feel like it's got a good win. Like with Echo. Echo is a gorgeous Skylander. Tidepool is awesome. Freezeblade, I love him. He's a dork, but I love him. Washbuckler is very solid. Swamp Force had some solid ones. Even Riptide is a very fun water Skylander. In the first game, I don't know, you got Slam Bam. He's a very cool looking water one. He's your first ice one. And I enjoy Chill. I feel like water has a lot of good ones, but not great ones. And I don't think there's too many water, like, Whamshell, he kind of flies under the radar. And then the water trap masters. I mean, you got Snapshot. He's elite. He's good. Diplops is probably the Skylander I neglect the most. When I think of superchargers, he is the last supercharger. It's like, I'm missing one. Oh, right, Diplops. He's in there too. And Gilgrunt's okay. I can find characters I enjoy out of all of them, and I don't really dislike any particular characters. None I would consider trash. There we go. So you can see her. Yeah, I can kind of see her kneecap down there. Good. That definitely helps. There's always a difference when seeing this in person versus through a camera, because your eyes wrap around things. Yeah, choosing is always tough. Definitely. But it's such an awesome thing that you have over 100 characters to choose from. And of those characters, most of them have some sort of variations of themselves. Even, hang on guys, give me one minute to mute this. Okay, I'm back, guys. My grandfather was just stopping by. Okay, Chill and Sprocket. I like Chill's design a lot. Sprocket, yeah, they kind of, in a way, it's a cool concept. I feel like they missed their mark a little bit. I do like the consistency between her and Golden Queen as a kind of a species. I do like that aspect. You're right, they did miss a little bit early on. Swap Force definitely picked up the slack though when they came in with Rollerball and Punk Shock. Um, oh, who else did they have? I know they had Smolder Dash, they had Scratch, so they definitely helped out with that. Believe it or not, Superchargers actually has the best male to female ratio when it comes to all the games. Having 5 females out of their 18 characters, kind of 20. Well, they're both golden skinned creatures, so they're both goldling creatures, which is kind of cool. I definitely love Nightfall because a lot of the female characters, they definitely went very girly when they did girls with most of them. Still felt was good in between. To be like, okay, here's our characters to draw on the female fan base. But then with Nightfall, they ditched every girly aspect, and I really enjoyed that with her, making her still feminine, but also not. She's great. She's one of my favorites. All the Supercharger girls are great. She is very awesome, and she is probably my favorite character to play around with in writing. She is so much fun. Not the nicest person, but she is fun. Fun to mess with, honestly. So yeah, I can't wait to go further into the writing until I can get to her. I want to start off with some earlier stories, though. She is. Very much so. She is probably the scariest Skylander there is, and she is A-okay with that. Like, even Hoodsickle, he's not quite got it on her level. My stories, so I'm working on some visual novel stuff. I did do fan fiction way back then. You can still find it. I'm not going to recommend it. It's old, and it was written when I was a teenager. But I want to try out visual novels as a fun storytelling medium for people to have. And to start with, I have first is a little guinea pig story, which is literally just like a little lore legend story, and it doesn't actually focus on any Skylanders. This is a case where I'm okay with an OC because he is serving to build the lore, and he's not a typical OC. He is a little kid character learning a lesson. So it's a very standard moral of the story kind of things, and that's really just to kind of get my feet wet trying out this medium before I get to the story that I really want to go with. The first one after that is a story to start off the friendship between Rollerball and Stealth Elf, because both of those are our two main female characters of the main Skylander cast, where they kind of settled with the characters that they kind of want to focus. Your real guide to that is Spyro, and then the 8 reimagined Superchargers are pretty central. So those are the characters you really want to put a lot of focus on. Most of them, like Trigger Happy and Pop Fizz, they don't need character development. They are comedic reliefs. Jetvac is a foil character. He can have a single like occasional good spotlight, but he works best as a foil character to other characters. Same with Gilgrunt. Eruptor, he's kind of in between. He is between comedic relief, kind of can have some more complex things going on. Both Stealth Elf and Rollerball have very complex characters and are both very leader-like characters. They are great main characters. For a while, at least. Rollerball eventually does fit better in the foil role, but Stealth Elf herself has a lot of complexity to her, especially with her backstory. So I want to kick something off with them. And let's just say they aren't going to get off really well the first time they meet, especially with the way their backstories are. I see a lot of conflict early on, then a tight bond later on as surrogate sisters, essentially. From there, I want to do a fun story between Freezeblade and Night Shift, actually, where Roller Roll will again be very involved. And after that, a sort of prologue story that puts a lot of focus on Spyro and Spitfire to the Superchargers. So before the events of the Superchargers game, and Spyro having to come for Spitfire being thrown into the new position of being a team leader, that is a great spot there for storytelling. And then Spyro having to contend with all of his best friends moving on to this new team. There's a lot of projects. And then after that, I would want to do a series after all the games are over, just focusing on the Superchargers. Because what you have here lore-wise is Giants, Swappers, and Trapmasters are all and Senseis even, are established groups timeline-wise. The Superchargers are the protectors of the Cloud Lake Break Islands and the volcano there. They were banished and have come back over 100 years. So they are an established group. They have had time to develop as a group. Trapmaster, same thing. They are the prison wardens. They are probably one of the more mature groups. Swappers aren't very mature. They are a hilarious bunch. That would be fun to write for as well. And the Senseis are teachers. And then the Giants, of course, are the first Skylanders. So they are all teams with settled dynamics. The Superchargers are a brand new team. They are a recently assembled group of Skylanders in this position. And so that is definitely something to explore. And what are they going to do after the everything's at peace? They are no longer needed as that big strike force to push back the darkness. Well, their job could be to continue exploring the Skylanders and literally map out the Skylands. So that seems to be really fitting for them. And then to just have fun, because there's a lot of really fun characters. You've got your 8 classic characters still in there, and then you've got 10 newer characters to really have fun playing around with. And so that is what I am looking forward to doing long term. That particular project is years down the line. I'm going to just start small and we'll see where it goes. As I'm starting with these more self-contained stories. Let's go with that. Starting with self-contained stuff. Yeah, I definitely want to do more world building through all of this for sure. And a big thing with the one where focusing on Night Shift and Freezeblade is going to go into the logistics of them having been gone for 100 years. So yeah, all in the works. You probably won't see any of those finished for a good chunk of time. Currently, I'm focusing on these customs, but the storytelling will come around eventually. And many of these stories I've had in my head for years already. So they aren't, they'll stick around for much longer. Yeah, if I get started talking on these stories, I'm going to rant for a while. So fair warning, if you ask, you will get an answer. I always have more projects going than I can handle. That is just the way I live. Okay, I've got pretty good detail going on her. Oh, no, wait, hang on. The underside of her legs here have more of those raised parts. A little harder to get to, but they are not too bad. Get under here. These highlights, oh, shoot, I missed a good chunk there with the black. These highlights definitely do a lot for making the character look good overall. You never want too much of a single color. Okay, that's definitely doing her a lot of service. She still needs something else going on here, though. And unfortunately, I think I'm only going to be able to do the string for about 20 more minutes, and then I'm going to have to put an end to it. Sadly, it's been a lot of fun. But we'll see if we can get her. You know what? This pearl color might do it. Let me see if I got it better in between. But Oh no, this is a good one too. Color shift here. Let's see here. Let's start with the pearl. A bit more of a jungle green there. Not quite as yellow as the light highlight green I've been using. Nowhere near as dark as the spruce green. Let's give you a try. Start with her eyebrows here. Give a little highlight on them. That's a bit too thin, frankly, though, to really do what it needs to do. That's doing something, though. Might have to create some of my own details. I think it looks pretty decent, in person at least. Not sure how it looks to you guys on camera. I mean, I can see it, but this camera, blurry and stuff. Having to move this around so much. Might go with this lighter green for her lips, actually. Add some more to her face. Yeah, let's get these lips done. Lipstick is always one of the easiest things. It'll look really wrong if you mess it up. I'm always hesitant on that. Yeah, that looks weird. I don't know, I won't stress about this too much now. I might go back and remove it or fix it later. I don't know how well it can show there. It's, oh, there you go. That angle shows it pretty well. You like the color scheme? I'm glad. I'm glad. Definitely feel like we need a tertiary color, though, in there somewhere. Like a little bit of an edge. Purple's too dark. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of yellow might actually do this some good. Which is gold and metallic, but metallic golds don't show the best. I'm actually going to go with just a simple yellow here. I'm going to try something with this. Try it with a breastplate. I think that'll look the best. Here I actually think the matte will also do us a good favor to give us a visual breakup. Here on the edge. Thick. Very thin. Gold. Yeah, that's doing some good stuff. Go back and clean that line up for sure. Oh no, hang on. Some darker, my original dark green back. I said the bottle. Here it is. It does, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of balancing with colors where the light versus dark, but then also having a third color entirely, even if it's still close to the same family, it makes a difference. I do think yellow is our best color for this, and I do think I like that. You can see the stripe there I did on her chest. I do think I like the look of that. This often is another trick that looks really good with browns and tans if you have a darker or a lighter between two more mid-range ones. I'll have to do on all her pieces, but just here and there. It doesn't have to be overdone. That's the dark. Clean that line up a bit. That one's a thinner layer, but I gotta wait till it dries to get a good second coat there. Then here you can see these cracks down her arm. So I'm gonna go back in there. Oh no, that'll look better with the copper. No, my copper's all dry. Or the bronze. Thank you. Yes, that's kind of the idea, is to bring out some of those details. She's actually got a lot of bits here and there that might do really well with the color. Some that were done gray originally. What's the wrong color? Wrong color. I actually think on her wrist here is actually a good place for the copper. Oh yeah, that definitely want the copper right there. The bronze. Copper is essentially just a lighter bronze with a bit more orange to its coloration. There we go. I like that line there. Do that on her other scenes. Start to figure out where to put the rest of the yellow. Actually, ooh, hang on. Let me get these bronze bits here, but then I got an idea for some of the yellow, and I think it'll look really, really cool once I get it going. Because the big thing with her is she's got a lot of big swaths without any breakup on them with her natural form. So if we go ahead and so on her wrist here, get my tip fine. Get the yellow. Let's do this. Get a bit of a speckled look in there. Some bigger towards the wrist, and then petering out closer towards her elbow. Let's play around with this for a minute, see how I can get it to look. Almost a little pollen-like. See that there? A little bit in here so it's not conflicting too much. You always got to balance. Too much detail gets things lost in a jumbled mess. Too little detail can be a bit bland. I won't do this on all of her pieces, but her wrist and her shins, I'm thinking. The way her arms are positioned, it'll be a good balance, high and low. Oh, now I gotta think of a name for this one. What do you guys think we should call her? Oftentimes I'll think of the name first and go off of that, or kind of think of them in conjunction. I don't have a good name for a gear shift here yet, though. And her colors, while originally kind of jungle themed, doesn't necessarily have to be where her name goes, though. It could be like I don't know yet. I already got an emerald in Genie, so emerald is out. It's not really quite got enough of the lighter green to consider peridot. And of course, with the browns. There we go. What do you think of that? Get around under here a little bit. All the awkward angles you have to paint these things at. Oxidized? Not quite. That's not quite how oxidizing typically looks. Oxidization is actually very rainbow typically. And it is, yeah, not quite there for oxidization, I don't think. with some metals like rust. It does kind of have that, but not quite oxidization. I think it's kind of more of a garden look, honestly, now that we're getting the little yellow speckles. I'm really liking how these yellow speckles are starting to look, though. From there. Yeah, you see garden? It does kind of work. Fixing the lawnmower. I feel like that needs a sub part, though. Garden something. I feel like this is what you'd see if she was a miniature version in a garden. I feel like that's a good, like where you would see her, it feels like. Maybe like wild garden could work. Because it's got a bit more of a wild look to her than like a clean, cultivated garden. Or a meadow. Okay, let's see here. Her earpieces. I don't think I want to do yellow on those. Let's go with this lighter green on the rim. Yeah, that's where that needs to be. Need to get some of this color onto other pieces too. Overgrown garden. There we go. Overgrown garden gear shift. And then you got a bit of a alliteration going on there. Grown in garden. I think that might be it. Here on her forehead. Let's see here. Let's give her the inside of the gear, I think, actually. Do a little bit of yellow. I need to clean off the tip of my paint. Maybe just overgrown gear shift. You do like that nicely? I'm glad. It's kind of the fun of it. It's all coming up with the names is half the fun for me, frankly. Rather than just painting it and calling it a day. Gotta come up with a name so people know what to call them. Yeah, looking at my time here. Probably can stick around for 10 more minutes, but we're almost done. We're almost done. At least with the basic look of the figure. Then here in a couple hours, I'll be able to post it. Yeah, just gonna first go back through with the dark green, make it look better. Pretty messy on her forehead so far, but it'll be easy to drop in a big blob of green. It'll be a nice clean circle after that. Just leave the thicker stuff there so you can actually see the yellow. Alright, let's go down to her shins here. Start hitting those yellow speckles. Probably in her boots too, actually. Boots could use it. And bigger ones down here on her lower part. Ooh, I definitely like that. I'm glad I went with the yellow. I think I actually really like that. How it's turning out. Fits with the spring, or I guess it's summer for most people, but up here it's spring for me. I am hoping to do more streams. We'll see. You guys really seem to enjoy it. Small crowd, but even then, it's still a lot of fun for me, and it's a chance for people, even if they don't hit the stream, they can go back and actually see the process. I've been asked about that lots. Editing videos, I don't think is within my capacity anytime soon, but this is doable. I'm glad you think so. I'm really glad. I know it's definitely slow. It's a lot of repetitiveness, but I'm glad you enjoy it. A few more speckles on it. There we go. Oops. There we go. See that on her legs down there. I like the speckling. That worked out pretty well. Not overdone, just leaving up to those 4 parts of her body, I think. But it definitely adds a bit more of the balance that it needed to make up for the big patches of dark green it had. Okay, I think I'm gonna throw in a little bit more of this light green here. Like dandelions in the future. You're right, it is like that. I think just calling her... I'll make the final decision. You'll see it when it's posted. I always have a name for them when I post them. Going with this mid-green here where her gray was on her joints. Oh, hello. You want to come say hi? This is my helper. Hi, Aspen. Let's turn the camera. Whoops, say hello. This is Aspen. She is my kitty. She's about 9 years old. She's a very talkative cat. I am surprised it took her this long to come investigate. She usually is very upset when I start talking to my computer for any classes or whatnot. She is a very jealous animal, and she thinks my computer is taking attention that belongs to her. I'm glad you think she's cute. We have a little rascal kitten, too. He's about a year-old kitten, so not a tiny kitten. I am not surprised that he has not shown up because he was all energy this morning, and he is probably fast asleep on a bed somewhere. I would not be surprised, though, if any future streams being regularly interrupted by fluffy frost balls. There we go. Kind of there, her leg joint started to show up on stream, but I think it adds a good balance. Let's do her other one over here, and then I might call it good for today. I wouldn't call this one quite done. There's a lot of touch up and cleanup that I want to go back through and do, but for our time here, I think you've got basically how she's going to look. So you can you can pretty much see generally how the finished project is going to look there. Let's go ahead and get this darker patch on her forehead, because this ring of yellow is definitely way too big. So I can get a bigger glob here. Easier to do the middle circle precisely than it is to do the outer circle with this kind of thing. Kind of push the paint into place. More of a even looking rim. There we go. That's better. At least a bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by. I think I'm going to call it. I really do hope I'll be able to do this again with you guys. And I hope we also see more people start showing up. But yeah, thank you. I think I probably won't be able to do it for a couple more weeks at least. I think in July, I'll be able to really play around with it more. Thanks again. Have a good one.